A terminal CIA agent seeking to reunite with his distant daughter is presented with an experimental medication that might extend his life in return for one final mission. Get ready to relive the adventure as we recap the story of action and drama film today. 3 Days to Kill, production year 2014. The movie begins at the CIA headquarters located in Langley, Virginia. Agent Vivi DeLay meets with the CIA director and a second individual to talk about their focus, Wolfgang Braun, also known as the Wolf. The man and his partner, the albino, are trying to sell weapons to terrorists. The men designate Vivi to bring both of them down. She inquires about the agent they currently have working in the field. Ethan Renner is his name. Ethan and Agent Yasmin rendezvous in a Paris hotel to apprehend the albino, who is planning to negotiate with Serbians. Ethan has already eliminated the clients and swiftly exchanges briefcases with the albino, which holds secret codes. He heads to transfer them to different agents in a van, but his phone rings to jog his memory that it's his daughter Zoe's birthday. He sprints to a payphone and leaves his watch with a vendor in exchange for change to make a call. He tries to reach Zoe by phone, but only reaches her voicemail message. Yasmin's true identity is jeopardized in the hotel when the albino spots her. He pulls her into the elevator and waits for it to arrive so it can cut off her head. The group he is with fires at the agents inside the van, resulting in a shootout that extends from the lobby to the exterior of the hotel. Ethan chases the albino and eliminates his henchmen before pursuing the antagonist. Ethan begins to feel a loss of strength and tiredness before he finally reaches the albino. Upon waking in the hospital, Ethan is informed by a doctor that he has cancer, which has metastasized to his lungs. He estimates that Ethan has around 3 to 5 months remaining. Ethan comes back to his apartment and discovers a family residing there. Jules, the father figure, greets Ethan warmly upon his return, explaining they are displaced individuals in search of a new home. He attempts to address the issue, but is warned that he may be arrested if he evicts the family forcefully. Ethan retrieves his gun in front of Jules before changing his mind and allowing him to stay until his oldest daughter has her baby. Ethan phones Tina while she's hanging out with friends. She is reluctant to meet him until he insists that it's crucial for them to meet. They sign his will together and he reveals that he is dying and wishes to keep it a secret from Zoe. He desires to see her, and Tina says it can only happen if he is completely finished with them. Ethan confirms his agreement. Both of them meet Zoe at her school. The reunion with her father is uncomfortable, and she appears unenthusiastic about conversing with him. Zoe introduces a good-looking older male who approaches her as Hugh. He is courteous to Ethan when she introduces them, but he is understandably uncertain about it. Hugh departs, and Ethan gives Zoe a purple bike, assuming it is still her preferred color. She chooses to use public transportation with her friends, leaving Ethan to cycle alone. Ethan halts at a booth and encounters Vivi. She mentions Zoe's name and displays his watch that he forgotten at the hotel. She persuades him to join her for a ride, asking him to assist her. He hesitates until she mentions having an experimental medication that could save him. Ethan thinks it over again, and Vivi informs him that the task is to locate the wolf and eliminate him. Vivi brings Ethan to a hotel to locate a man who can provide them with information about the albino's accountant. She informs Ethan that there's just one man inside, but when he bursts into the room of their target, he discovers 5 men. They end up eliminating all of them when they receive no information from anyone. In the elevator, Ethan informs her that he will only proceed with the task if he receives $50,000 and a life insurance policy worth $1 million. She follows his request and administers an injection of the medication. We observe the albino encountering a man. He hands this man a picture of Ethan to carry with him. Ethan visits Zoe and Tina's place and listens as Zoe screams. Believing she is at risk, he damages the doorknob to enter, only to discover she is distraught about her hairdo. Tina is angry with Ethan for being 3 hours late to cook dinner after promising to do so earlier. The following day, she plans to go to London for work and opts to hire a babysitter for Zoe, but Ethan urges her to let him look after her instead. Afterwards, Ethan begins to experience dizziness, and then he loses consciousness. He phones Vivi and informs her he is seeing things that are not real. She advises him to consume vodka to alleviate his discomfort. He simply does it. The following day, Tina departs and Zoe arrives donning a red-hued wig. Observing Vivi phoning Ethan's phone, she is informed by him that it is her employer. I Don't Care by Icona Pop is set as Ethan's ringtone specifically for when she calls. Ethan attempts once more to convince Zoe to bike to school. However, she chooses to walk and accidentally drops her wig. Ethan encounters Vivi once more. She hands him the promised check and cautions him to maintain a low heart rate. She sends Ethan to find a car salesman named Mitat Yilmaz. Ethan visits the dealership, insults Mitat's staff, and knocks them unconscious before sitting in Mitat's office for his return. Ethan uses Mitat's family as leverage, bringing him back to the apartment, but he receives a phone call from Zoe's school, prompting him to meet with the principal. He brings Mitat along and hides him in the trunk. Ethan and Zoe have a meeting with the principal. He discovers that Zoe struck another student in the class. He inquires, "Do you prefer an open palm or a clenched fist?" Upon their departure, Zoe explains to Ethan that the reason she hit the girl was because she was mocking a girl from Pakistan. Ethan explains that he is not angry and suggests to her that it is an efficient method for dealing with a bully. Mitat begins causing a commotion in the trunk, prompting Ethan to go over and hit him while telling him to be quiet. Zoe departs from him due to his actions and his persistent cough. Nevertheless, she later contacts him again to say sorry and invites him to meet her at her preferred location, a small amusement park with her favorite attraction being the flying chairs. Despite Ethan's intention to keep looking for the accountant, he changes his plans to meet with Zoe. They embark on the ride and then enjoy hot chocolate. She informs him that she needs to leave in order to study with her partner from the lab. Ethan visits a store and is assaulted by a man carrying a shotgun. He attacks Ethan, but he stands up uninjured, probably thanks to wearing a vest, and they engage in battle. The man almost fatally wounds Ethan by stabbing him in the neck, but he is then shot and killed. Ethan then realized that the man was carrying a picture of Ethan. Ethan returns home to find a message on Zoe's computer from a friend stating she'll meet her at the tattoo gallery. Worried, Ethan hurriedly goes to the location and discovers a vehicle containing Zoe's bag. He forces his way in and discovers a pamphlet from a venue named Spider. He visits Mitat's home and inquires of the man's twin daughters about what Spider is. They inform him that it's a gathering house. Ethan visits Spider, a nightclub, and notices Zoe enjoying a drink with her friends. He begins to feel dizzy once more and takes a gulp of vodka to calm down. He trails Zoe close to the restroom and spots 3 guys bothering her. Ethan is restrained by a friend's acquaintance, but he goes into protective mode and defeats all of them before rescuing Zoe. Zoe rises the following morning without any recollection of the night before. She continues to wear her dress, and she is ready to head to school until Ethan advises her against going out like that. He demands that she ride the bike to school, but she furiously points out that he never showed her how to ride. He dedicates the morning to instructing her, receiving cheers from observers. Zoe, in tears, later questions him about his prolonged absence. She believes he has a different family with another daughter, but he confirms that this is not true. While they keep spending time together, Zoe confesses that she struck the girl at school for flirting with Hugh. They ultimately encounter Hugh as he is about to take Zoe to school. Ethan finds the accountant Guido while he is being guided through the streets. Ethan launches a tear gas grenade at the vehicle and abducts Guido before detonating the van. He brings Guido to his apartment to swap the briefcase containing codes he previously had for the ones that will activate explosives held by the wolf and the albino. Zoe contacts Ethan to inform him that she plans to prepare dinner for Hugh, and she aims to create a vegetarian recipe. Ethan hands the phone to Guido so he can share a spaghetti sauce recipe that his mother utilized with Zoe. That evening, Ethan returns home to discover that Jules' daughter is about to give birth. She delivers a healthy baby girl and chooses to name her after Ethan for permitting them to reside in his house. Jules states they must depart as agreed, but Ethan argues they can remain for as long as they wish. Jules mentions that the family favors a smaller house to remain nearer to one another. Ethan returns to Zoe's house and discovers that Hugh invited her to prom, but she claims she isn't able to dance. Ethan chooses to assist her just when Tina arrives home. She observes their dancing, which brings tears to her eyes. They have a family dinner, and Tina later advises Ethan that he needs to inform Zoe about his condition eventually. They ultimately share a bed. The following morning, Vivi contacts Ethan to inform him that the albino is at the Grand Hotel. Ethan makes his way there and sees the wolf. The antagonists enter a vehicle operated by Mitat. Ethan runs after them, colliding with the car until he forces them all across a footbridge. The wolf and the albino escape, and Ethan lets Mitat go to reunite with his family. Ethan pursues the villains into the subway, where he experiences a nosebleed and starts to feel lightheaded. Before he is able to shoot the wolf, the albino pulls a nearly unconscious Ethan toward the train tracks. He holds off until the train arrives while the wolf shouts at him to eliminate Ethan. Ethan regains sufficient strength to shove the albino in front of the train just as it goes by. He loses consciousness and the wolf escapes. He awakens to find that Vivi has taken him to her home. She brings to his mind the wolf's escape, but informs him that the outcomes of his treatment with the drug were positive. Ethan, Zoe, and Tina visit Hugh and his family. His father presents Ethan to his business associate, the wolf. They acknowledge one another and awkwardly shake hands. Hugh's guardians lead them all into a nightclub. Tina ultimately understands that Ethan is completing a task. She believes he has been dishonest with her, but he promises that he has not been deceitful. The men of the wolf shoot at Ethan, who chases after them. He eliminates the goons prior to trapping the wolf in an elevator. He fires at the cables of the elevator, making it drop and smash to the ground. The wolf emerges from the elevator and Ethan discovers him. He begins to feel weak once more, unable to fire at him. He lets the gun fall, and the wolf tries to grab it until Vivi arrives and shoves it towards Ethan to complete the task. Contemplating Tina and Zoe, he declines and lets go of the gun. Vivi takes it and fires at the wolf herself. Some time after, Ethan remains with Zoe in a house close to the beach. He's preparing a Christmas tree, after believing he wouldn't see Christmas, and we listen to him conversing with Tina, mentioning that there have been tough times, yet they continue to work on their relationship. Tina shows up in person, and Ethan admits to her that he hasn't always supported her and Zoe as he ought to have. Zoe approaches to ask her mom to join them so Ethan can prepare hot chocolate. Ethan enters a different room as Tina and Zoe sit side by side. She inquires with her mom whether Ethan will be staying now. In the meantime, Ethan discovers a box containing a big syringe, along with a card from Vivi that wishes him a Merry Christmas. She has provided him with the medication so he can keep enjoying time with his family. In the distance, Vivi observes the family inside their house. And showing this story ends here. Appreciate a subscribe, and please remember to like. Thanks for watching.